Marcus Webb stood in the doorway of his daughter's old bedroom, paint-stained hands trembling as he held the "Room for Rent" sign. The lavender walls still held the ghost of Emma's laughter, her butterfly stickers caught in the afternoon light like frozen memories. It had been 8 months since the accident took his wife, Sarah, and 3 since Emma left for college across the country. The house felt too big now, too quiet, and the mortgage didn't care about his grief. With a heavy breath that caught in his throat, Marcus walked to the front lawn and planted the sign firmly in the ground. He didn't know that this simple act of survival would lead him to a truth that would shatter and rebuild his understanding of what family really means. The applications came slowly. Marcus, a 42-year-old high school English teacher, had been careful in his listing. He wanted someone quiet, responsible, and preferably short-term. He wasn't ready to truly let go of that room, but his savings account told a different story than his heart. After a dozen awkward interviews with people who didn't feel quite right, a young woman named Lily Chen appeared on his doorstep on a rainy October evening. She was small, maybe 5'3", with dark hair pulled into a messy ponytail and oversized glasses that kept sliding down her nose. She clutched a worn backpack and a folder of documents, her sneakers leaving wet prints on his welcome mat. There was something gentle about her, something that reminded Marcus of his daughter, that same quiet, determination mixed with barely concealed vulnerability. "Mr. Webb, I'm here about the room," she said, her voice soft but steady. "I know I'm younger than you probably wanted, but I promise I'm responsible. I'm a junior at State studying nursing. I work part-time at the campus library and volunteer at the children's hospital on weekends." Marcus invited her in, and as they sat at his kitchen table, he found himself warming to her immediately. She was polite, articulate, and there was an old soul quality about her that put him at ease. When he mentioned the rent, Lily's face fell slightly. "I can do that," she said quickly, though Marcus noticed her fingers tightening around her folder. "I get paid every 2 weeks. Would it be okay if I paid the rent in 2 installments each month?" Something in her eyes made Marcus nod before he'd really thought it through. They shook hands, and Lily moved in that weekend with everything she owned fitting into 2 suitcases and 3 cardboard boxes. Marcus helped her carry them up, noting how light they were, how few possessions she had for someone her age. The first month passed smoothly. Lily was the perfect tenant, quiet as a ghost, cleaning up after herself, always offering a shy smile when they passed in the hallway. She studied constantly, her light burning late into the night. Marcus noticed she ate simply, usually just rice, eggs, and whatever vegetables were on sale. She never used the heating in her room despite the autumn chill creeping in, and she took showers so brief Marcus wondered if she even got properly clean. One evening in early November, Marcus was grading papers at the dining room table when he heard a muffled sound from upstairs. It was soft, almost imperceptible, but in the quiet house it stood out. He climbed the stairs and paused outside Lily's door. The sound came again, a choked sob, quickly stifled. He knocked gently. "Lily, everything okay?" Silence, then footsteps, and the door opened a crack. Lily's face was red, her glasses in her hand, tears tracking down her cheeks. "I'm fine, Mr. Webb, just stressed about exams. Sorry if I disturbed you." But Marcus had been a teacher for 18 years. He knew genuine distress when he saw it. "You're not disturbing me, but you're also not fine. Would you like some tea? Or just to talk?" She hesitated, then nodded, and they went downstairs. Over chamomile tea at the kitchen table where Sarah used to do crossword puzzles, Lily's story spilled out in fragments. She was an orphan raised in foster care. She'd aged out of the system at 18 with nothing but a partial scholarship and a dream of becoming a pediatric nurse. She worked 30 hours a week while taking a full course load. The rent she paid Marcus represented nearly half her monthly income. "I'm managing," she insisted, wiping her eyes. "I'm used to making things work. It's just, sometimes it gets really hard, you know. I see other students whose parents send them care packages or help with rent. And I'm sorry. I shouldn't be telling you all this." Marcus felt something crack open in his chest, a warm pain that was both familiar and new. This young woman, barely older than his own daughter, was fighting so hard just to survive, let alone succeed. "Don't apologize," he said quietly. "Everyone needs someone to listen sometimes." After that night, things shifted subtly. Marcus started accidentally making too much dinner and insisting Lily help him eat it so it wouldn't go to waste. He turned up the thermostat, claiming he was feeling cold. When he saw her textbooks, their spines cracked and pages marked with second-hand highlighter. He casually mentioned that the school library was getting rid of old editions and brought home several she needed. Lily accepted these kindnesses with grateful eyes and quiet thank yous, never asking for anything but clearly touched by each gesture. She began joining him for dinner more regularly, and slowly, the house felt less like a mausoleum of memories and more like a home again. They talked about books, about her patients at the hospital, about his students. She had a wry sense of humor beneath her reserved exterior, and Marcus found himself laughing again, really laughing, for the first time since Sarah died. December arrived with an early snow. Marcus came home from school one day to find Lily sitting at the kitchen table, her phone in her hand, tears streaming silently down her face. This time she didn't try to hide it. "They cut my hours at the library," she whispered. "Budget reductions. And I just got my tuition bill for spring semester. My scholarship doesn't cover everything, and I don't know how I'm going to make it work. Mr. Webb, I might have to take a semester off." Marcus sat down across from her, his teacher's mind already calculating, planning. "How much do you need?" "No," Lily said immediately, understanding his implication. "No, you've already been so kind to me. You've done more than anyone ever has. I'll figure something out." "I always do." But Marcus shook his head. Over the past months, this young woman had brought unexpected light back into his dark house. She'd reminded him what it felt like to care for someone again, to have purpose beyond just surviving each day. An idea had been forming in his mind for weeks, and now it crystallized into certainty. "What if you didn't have to pay rent anymore?" he said. "What if you stayed here in Emma's room as family rather than a tenant?" Lily stared at him confused. "I don't understand." "Emma's not coming back to this house," Marcus said, the words painful but true. "She's building her life in California, and I'm happy for her. But this house, this family, we're not complete anymore." "There's space here, Lily. There's space for you." "If you want it." He paused, emotion thick in his throat. "You remind me that there's still goodness in the world, still people worth showing up for. Let me help you. Not as a landlord, but as someone who cares about you." The silence stretched between them, filled with the soft tick of Sarah's grandmother, clock, and the whisper of snow against the windows. Then Lily was crying again, but differently this time. Great. Gasping sobs of relief and disbelief and something that looked like hope. "Why?" she managed to ask. "Why would you do this for me?" Marcus thought of Sarah, of the 1,000 small kindnesses she'd shown to everyone she met. He thought of Emma, safe at college because he and Sarah had sacrificed to give her that chance. He thought of all the students who'd sat in his classroom over the years. Some of them just like Lily, fighting invisible battles while trying to learn about Shakespeare and Steinbeck. "Because someone should," he said simply. "Because you deserve it. Because kindness doesn't need a reason, Lily. It just needs a choice." And so the arrangement changed. Lily stayed in Emma's room, rent-free, and in return, she simply existed, studying at the kitchen table. Sharing meals, talking about her day, she brought life back into the house. And Marcus found purpose again in supporting her dreams. He helped her with scholarship applications, proofread her papers, and showed up at the hospital on days when she was receiving recognition for her volunteer work. When Emma came home for Christmas and met Lily, she hugged her father tight and whispered, "Mom would have loved this. She would have loved her." Marcus knew it was true. Sarah had always believed that family wasn't just about blood. It was about showing up, about choosing to care, about making room in your life for people who needed it. 2.5 years later, Marcus sat in the audience at the nursing school graduation, tears streaming down his face as Lily. Chen walked across the stage to receive her degree. She'd finished at the top of her class and already had a job lined up at the children's hospital where she'd volunteered. When she accepted her diploma, she turned to the audience and pointed directly at him, mouthing the words, "Thank you, Dad." That night at the celebration dinner, Lily gave Marcus an envelope. Inside was a check for every dollar of rent she hadn't paid over those years. "I don't want this," Marcus said immediately. "I know," Lily replied, her eyes bright. "But I wanted you to know that I kept track." that I valued what you did. You gave me more than a room, Mr. Webb, Marcus. You gave me a foundation to build my life on. You gave me family when I thought I'd never have one. So keep it, use it, donate it, whatever you want. But know that it represents my promise to pay it forward, to be for someone else what you were for me. Marcus folded the check and put it back in her hand. Then put this toward your future instead. That's what I'd want. He paused, then pulled out an envelope of his own. I have something for you, too. Inside was a legal document. Lily unfolded it with shaking hands, scanning the words, her eyes widening. It was paperwork to formally make her part of the family. Adoption papers that, while unusual for someone her age, would legally give her the family name and connection she'd never had. If you want to, of course, Marcus added quickly. I know you're grown and it might seem strange, but I wanted you to know that this isn't just sentiment. Your family, Lily, Emma's sister, my daughter, and I'd be honored if you'd let that be official. Lily couldn't speak through her tears, so she just nodded. And they held each other in the restaurant while other diners smiled and looked away, giving them their moment. The lesson Marcus learned, and the one Lily had known all along, was that family finds you in unexpected ways, that sometimes the deepest connections form not through biology, but through choice, through daily kindnesses, through opening your door and your heart to someone who needs it, that we heal our own wounds by binding up someone else's, that a house becomes a home not through the memories you preserve, but through the new ones you create, and that sometimes, when you think you're saving someone, they're actually saving you right back.